I mean, if you thought the jump from gas to electric was a big deal, just wait until you see what's coming next. The car of the future, it's not just getting a software update, it requires a complete, fundamental redesign from the ground up. We're talking about totally revolutionizing both its brawn, the raw energy that powers it, and its brains, the intelligence actually doing the driving. To really wrap our heads around this, we're going to cover a few key areas today. The future of mobility, the solid-state power revolution, a massive $10 billion market, Level 4 autonomy, Japan's autonomous roadmap, and finally, the real-world roadblocks to making all this a reality. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the future of mobility. Traditional cars have had a fantastic, century-long run, right? But the whole mobility ecosystem is fundamentally shifting. Right now, our current EVs rely almost entirely on liquid lithium-ion batteries. But while those flammable liquids and heavy designs, they have hard limits. The true brawn of the future is the solid-state battery. By swapping out that volatile liquid for solid materials, we get this non-flammable, incredibly compact powerhouse. And because it's solid, it unlocks the use of lithium metal or high silicon anodes, which basically means it can hold a drastically higher amount of energy. Which brings us to Section 2, the solid-state power revolution. To understand exactly why this massive engineering shift matters so much, we really just need to look at the consumer electronics world. A lot of you probably remember the infamous Samsung Firegate disaster, where smartphones were quite literally catching fire. That happened because those liquid electrolytes we just talked about, they're highly volatile when they overheat or short circuit. Now imagine scaling that risk up from a tiny phone in your pocket to a 2-ton vehicle carrying thousands of those cells. Eliminating that flammable liquid isn't just a nice little upgrade. It is an absolutely critical safety imperative for the entire auto industry. Moving right along to Section 3, a $10 billion market. So the crucial point is, because of these immense safety and performance benefits, there is a massive commercial race currently underway. According to research from IDTechs, the solid-state battery industry is projected to reach a staggering $10 billion market size by the year 2036. $10 billion! But what's truly incredible here is the compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 53.9%. That kind of exponential hockey stick growth curve proves that the major players aren't just tinkering in the lab anymore. They are pouring serious money into getting this tech out into the real world. But how do we actually get there? Well, engineers are basically battling it out over 3 main technological paths right now, and each one comes with some pretty intense trade-offs. First, sulfide electrolytes. They offer incredibly high ionic conductivity, but manufacturing them is tough and it involves some highly toxic materials. Then there's the polymer route. This one is highly scalable for mass manufacturing, which is great, but these batteries often require higher operating temperatures and they face some overall stability issues. And finally, we have oxide electrolytes. These offer brilliant stability, especially with those energy-dense lithium metal anodes we mentioned earlier, but they suffer from high interface resistance and high production costs. Whoever wins this intense chemistry race is absolutely going to be the one powering the next generation of transport. All right, let's pivot to Section 4, the brains, specifically Level 4 autonomy. Now, what's really interesting about this is we've talked all about the brawn, but let's actually look at the vehicles those super-powered batteries are going to be driving. And guys, this isn't science fiction anymore. Take the Toyota e-Palette, for example. It is a purpose-built Level 4 automated vehicle. Notice the design. It's not just a regular car with a few bulky sensors slapped on the roof. The entire form factor has completely changed. Because you don't need a human driver, the whole interior can be reimagined from the ground up. We're talking mobility as a service, local delivery, maybe even mobile retail spaces coming right to your door. But to actually drive safely without a human at the wheel, a vehicle like this needs an incredibly sophisticated multimodality awareness system. The e-Palette features a 360-degree brain that relies on a massive sensor suite. It's got 12 LiDAR sensors, 6 radars, 5 long-range cameras, and 4 short-range fisheye cameras. The redundancy here is absolutely key. Think about it. If a camera gets blinded by the glare of the setting sun, the LiDAR just seamlessly takes over. If heavy rain limits the LiDAR's range, the radar punches right through the storm. It's this exact multi-layered sensor fusion that makes true Level 4 autonomy even possible. Let's move to Section 5, Japan's autonomous roadmap. Let's see how this builds. Because all this amazing hardware and software, it's totally useless without a legal framework to actually operate it. Just look at the rapid legislative progression by the Japanese government. Back in 2018, they established their very first safety guidelines. Just 2 years later, in 2020, they pushed through amendments to the Road Traffic Act to allow Level 3 type approval. And by April 2023, the law was amended yet again to allow Level 4 specified autonomous operations to actually commence. They are aggressively paving the way to make sure the technology doesn't outpace the law. And we are already seeing the results in active city environments right now. Over in the Yokohama Minato Mirai area, there is a real-world deployment currently running on a 4-kilometer public road route. What's wild is the driver's seat is completely empty. The system handles the entire 25-minute drive completely on its own. Now, for safety and regulatory compliance, there is a safety officer sitting in the passenger seat with a big emergency stop button, but make no mistake, the AI is the one doing the actual driving, right there in the middle of ordinary city traffic. Now, other Japanese auto giants are taking slightly different approaches. Honda, for instance, is pushing what they call cooperative intelligence, or CI. Rather than relying on really heavy, expensive infrastructure and incredibly detailed preloaded maps, Honda's goal is to deploy mapless, deadlockless automated driving by the late 2020s. The idea here is to make Level 4 autonomy adaptable to a much wider range of regional cities, rather than just highly mapped major metropolitan downtowns. Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the roadblocks to reality. While this whole twin-engine revolution is incredibly exciting, we definitely need to stay grounded here. Both of these technologies face some massive hurdles before they actually reach your driveway. Let's start with the bronze bottlenecks. Scaling solid-state batteries up from a highly controlled lab environment to mass commercial production, it is proving complex and extremely expensive. Precision engineering is still struggling to solve some microscopic issues, like lithium dendrite formations that can literally pierce the solid battery and cause dangerous short circuits. Plus, we're seeing noticeable performance drops in very cold temperatures, and honestly, the industry still hasn't totally figured out how to safely and economically recycle these unique materials at the end of their life cycle. Mirroring those hardware issues, the brains face their very own bottlenecks. As of right now, Level 4 autonomy is restricted by very strict operational design domains, or ODDs. Basically, that means these cars can only drive autonomously under highly specific, predefined conditions and weather. They also rely heavily on complex mapping and physical city infrastructure to navigate safely. Add to that a total lack of international regulatory harmony. I mean, what's perfectly legal in Yokohama might not be legal in New York or London. And you can clearly see why mass adoption is still a pretty steep hill to climb. But look, despite the hurdles, we are witnessing an absolute paradigm shift, driven by these twin engines of solid-state power and artificial intelligence. The journey is really just beginning, so I want to leave you with this final thought to consider as we wrap up. As this tech accelerates from the lab to the streets, are you ready to hand over the wheel to an AI powered by a battery chemistry that didn't even exist commercially a decade ago? Thank you for checking out The Explainer, and keep your eyes on the